Hey YouTube, Brian LCS. Thanks for stopping by the channel and this review of The Amazing Spider-Man number 45. So we're going to jump in. This is kind of a recap or aftermath of the whole gang war storyline that we've seen recently, and you can check out those reviews. It's kind of a catch-up, right? Peter's been kind of dealing with the gang war, and so now it's time, since that event is over, and he can kind of catch up on things. So it's kind of a catch up episode. But we start off here in the story at Ravencroft, which is the kind of the Arkham Asylum in the Marvel world, right? It's one of the prisons where all the supervillains are kept, and so we see a young nurse, and she is basically bringing meds around to the different patients that are in Ravencroft. And we see that Spider-Man is lurking above as this nurse is making her way. And so let's just take a break and take a look at the creative team. We still have Zeb Wells writing. We have a guest artist, Carmen Carnero, and the artwork is, as you'll see as we go through this, I think done really well. And so Spider-Man is there, and he is basically at Ravencroft because Mary Jane Watson's aunt is in Ravencroft. She had gotten, I think this is a storyline that's been following in X-Men. So I kind of know bits and pieces of it. She has been taking some some of the X-Men medicine, and it made her a little bit crazy, and I guess she hurt some people, and so she was put in Ravencroft. So Spider-Man is there with an antidote, and there's a little note here saying that Spider-Man actually helped develop a cure as seen in X-Men number 29 and procured an advanced dose. So he is there. He's got there's a storyline that's going on in X-Men. He's got an antidote to help Mary Jane Watson's aunt come back from this kind of crazy state that she has been in. And so we see, pretty immediately that once he gives the aunt the antidote, that she kind of comes back. She's not her, manic, violent self. And so Spider-Man, Peter Parker, is basically saying, look, I'm going to, now that you're cured, I'm going to break you out of here. And she basically says, look, I have a debt to pay to society, and you can't do that. And it's kind of a little bit of a humbling moment for Peter. He's like, oh, is that what I sound like? Great power comes great responsibility. And so then we see Peter Parker and Norman Osborn at Oscorp. Peter is basically kind of catching up with Norman, letting him know about the what happened just with Aunt May's. With Mary Jane Watson's aunt, and so that she's cured now, but she wants to stay. And so Norman is saying, he's going to put some pressure on the Institute to be able to reevaluate her and hopefully get her, out. That's the least he could do for Mary Jane. And then Peter's basically having a heart-to-heart with Norman, saying, look, because of the thing going on with gang war, he really needs to focus on, being a superhero and helping people within New York City. He also even makes mention to now that the Wilson Fisk laws have been, repealed or revoked, and so that there's nobody really, superheroes aren't outlawed within New York City. And so Norman just basically says, look, I need you to stay on full time, full salary, and come in when you can. Basically come in and, as Peter Parker, and work when you can. No strings attached. Norman says that's, kind of the least he could do to help support Peter and Spider-Man. So that's good. That's good for Peter. He'll have some income coming in. And then we cut to another part of the lab in Oscorp, and we see this is actually Dr. Kurt Connor, as you can see, the lizard there, yeah, he's got, you can pretty identify Kurt Connors because he's missing an arm. And so he's yelling at two of the other lab technicians here because they have a cell phone in. He's basically saying you can't have a cell phone in. Could be a security breach because we have one of the most powerful living. It's the living brain here, and so kind of a foreshadowing, I guess, of some things to come in the future. And this is kind of what this whole kind of issue is kind of just kind of setting up some story threads that I think we'll see play out in the future. And we see Spider-Man and Jackpot, Mary Jane, meet up, and they're going to visit Mary Jane's aunt again. And we see that they have to change out of their respective costumes. So there's a funny little scene with them, getting in their civilian clothes. And so then we cut to inside where they are visiting with MJ's aunt. And again, this conversation about, getting her out and those type of things. But, she says, she wants to pay her debt to society. And she's addressing all of the other kind of villains in here by their first names, making them, kind of feel like people, like human beings and not, the supervillain or the bad thing. So she definitely seems like she has a kind heart. And then Peter spots Sandman, William Baker. And so he goes over and has a conversation with him, and basically, saying, hey, why are you here? And we find out that Sandman turned himself in because the Sandman, persona kept trying to come out, and Peter's kind of, worried about him. And he actually mentions that he says, well, how do you know me? Sandman asked, Peter Parker, how do you know me? He says, oh, I'm actually friends with Spider-Man, which kind of triggers Sandman, and we see him turn into Sandman, but he has a certain device on to control that, being in the Institute. So, so Peter's kind of taken aback by that mentioning Spider-Man's name, triggered Sandman, and then Sandman grabs Parker's hand before he leaves and basically says, hey, I need you to tell your friend Spider-Man that they want him out too. So, and then we cut to this Doc Ock, and we see some of the other villains. We've got Mysterio, we've got Electro, we've got Vulture, and Kraven there. So, and that's where we leave off, to be continued in next issue. So that's what we've got. And there's a little preview for next issue. We have Electro for issue 46. So overall, not too bad. John Romita Jr. cover here. It's interesting because this, and it's quite often this happens today where the cover art doesn't tie into the story. And so this is not a bad cover from JR, but we see like a beaten up Spider-Man here in the rain, and none of that happened in the story. So just figured I'd point that out. But overall, it was an okay kind of a filler issue. Like I said, it really felt like setting up some story threads that we'll see play out in the future. The guest artwork was done really well. I really enjoyed it. Nice little. It's always good to see different artists on Spider-Man, but I thought the artwork was done, really well. So we'll see how this plays out. We're obviously getting back to some of the classic Spidey villains with that last page, Doc Ock and Electro and all of those. His rogue gallery, as you would, his basically the Sinister Six there. So we saw Sandman as well. So we'll see where this goes. But overall, this is okay. I'll go somewhere right in the middle. My 5 webhead system will go 2.5. Not really much, much happened, but obviously, Aunt May's Aunt May. I keep saying Aunt May. Mary Jane Watson's aunt is now cured, so I'm sure that story is being played out in X-Men. So I'm sure that's a nice little nugget if you're reading X-Men. But this was okay. quick read. Like I said, just I really think some future story threads. So that's what I got for you today. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of Amazing Spider-Man number 45. And we'll see you for issue 46 soon. Thanks for watching.